So did he hit live or start broadcasting?
Okay, are we on now?
Wait, let's find out.
Welcome, IE. If we're here, hold on, we were having some difficulties. We want to make sure we are live before we get into the good stuff here. My name is John Wakefield. I'm here with Julie Wakefield.
Hi, I'm kind of in
Julie.
the background here.
But we've been doing all kinds of different real estate deals in the last 5, 6, 7 years. Tonight we're talking about assignments and double closes. We really haven't had the need to do assignments and double closes until about 2 or 3 years ago when we actually started wholesaling properties.
You're on.
Wholesaling is not all of what we do. I mean, we do buy, fix, and flip. You know, we hold properties for rentals. We do lease options. We do turnkey properties. You know, we sell to out-of-state investors. When we buy the properties for them, we fix them up, and then
Discovered our bread and butter.
We discover that the wholesaling thing it's fun. It brings a lot of other additional income to what we already do. So it's been pretty cool. But as far as doing the assignments or double close, I want to get into that a little bit. Before you can do either one of those, you've got to get a purchase agreement with your seller. You've got to have a signed purchase agreement with your seller before you can do any assignments or set up any double closings. And basically, when you do an assignment, what you're doing is you are selling your right, assigning your right for a fee to the end buyer or your investor that you have. Hopefully, some of those, you have some investors on a list that you use or call when you have a property. You can contact them and give them a good deal.
It most likely would be an investor because you're not going to usually do this with a retail. You know, you're not going
Right.
to, so it's an investor.
Although we have sold a couple to retail buyers, but normally it's an investor you'll be assigning these deals to. So again, you got to have the purchase agreement signed, and like I said, you're just going to basically assign your purchase agreement. You're assigning your contract over from your seller to your investor for a fee. You do this because there's no money out of your pocket. This is the great thing about real estate. You can get a property under contract, find a buyer that wants that property. You're playing the middleman, but all you have to do is give him your purchase agreement with your assignment contract. Ours, the one we use, is a simple one-page contract. You're assigning your interest in the purchase agreement with your seller for a fee. Very simple to do. We do them. We just did one last week. $5,000. No money out of our pocket. It's very simple to do. So if you're a beginner just getting into the real estate game here, or and like us, when we were doing real estate for many years before we did an assignment or a double close, because we had no need to, because we weren't doing any wholesaling at the time. But if you're not, I suggest no matter what you're doing, make wholesaling a part of what you do, because you can make a lot of additional income without any money out of your pocket. So it's a pretty cool thing. And as we get through this too, if you want to have any questions come through, and we'll try to get those as we're going through. One thing, if you have a property under contract and it's a bank-owned property, most likely you're not going to be allowed to assign that, because they have a clause in their book of addendums that they'll send you that the assignment is not allowed. However, we have done it, but it's been a local credit union that had the property on the market, and they didn't have that book of addendums, and we actually did do an assignment from a bank-owned property, but I highly doubt that's pretty rare. In that case, we'll do a double close, which we'll get to in a second. So when you do an assignment, your buyer is going to see exactly what you're making, because he's getting your purchase agreement. He knows what you paid for the property. your assignment agreement between you and your investor is going to be your fee, includes your fee that you want to make on the property. So he knows what you're making. He knows what you've got the property locked up for because you're giving him your contract from your seller. So basically, they should not care what you're making as long as the numbers work for them in the end. It shouldn't really matter. However, if you feel that you got like a super deal, which, you know, it'll happen, and you do not want your investor to know how much money you're making on the deal, and that's when you want to do a double close. That, or if it's a bank-owned property, okay? So when you do a double close, depending on if you have a title company that you're working with that'll do what you call a dry double close, then again, you will not need any funds to close these deals. If you buy a bank-owned property, you must choose to use your own title company. This is very important. Do not use the seller or the bank's title company to close your deal. If you're going to do a double close, they won't understand it. It won't happen. I would highly suggest you find a title company that you're comfortable with, that you're working with, that can do the double close, and preferably they can do a dry double close. Otherwise, you will need some transitional funding to fund the first part of the deal, okay? We do dry double closes all the time, so it works well for us.
Is that because the title company has established a relationship with you? Or is it, you know,
well, it's good to establish, we had a question, I'm sorry, to establish a relationship with the title company, but it doesn't matter. Either they will allow double closes or they won't, okay? So, you know, find a title company that will. Otherwise, you are going to need transitional funding. There are companies out there that offer transitional funding. I've never used them, but they're definitely available if you need the money just for 10 minutes to buy the property, then you're going to resell it 10 minutes later, basically. I know there are companies out there that will offer that funding for you, but it's definitely doable. So when you're doing a double close, then, is there any questions right now on the assignment you want to take? Does anybody want to take? No? Okay. When we do a double close, and that actually, I just did a double close last week here, and there was a private owned property, so I could have simply did an assignment, but I felt a little funny because we went into a new area. Okay, we're in Michigan here, so I went into the Detroit area and got a property under contract, private owner, a little rougher neighborhood than what we normally deal with. Okay, but I know there's a lot of people buying in Detroit every day. There's a ton, so we bought one. I mean, I get in the game over there, see what happens, right? And I bought a property for $2,000, 2-bedroom with a basement and garage. It was livable. Somebody was living in it. Brand new furnace in it. So, you know, it needed some work. It needed a roof and such. But I bought that property for $2,000, and I had a buyer. I advertised it on Craigslist and Postlets, which again I might get into that a little bit as far as regarding advertising your properties, because that's important too. But we sold that property for how much, Shirley? $10,500. So we did a double close. I mean, I was making them, you know, what, you know, $8,500 off the deal. It just, if it might not be a lot of it, it's a higher end house, but it just seemed odd to me because I was only paying $2,000 for the property. I mean, it's crazy, $2,000 for a property, right?
That was livable.
And it's livable.
Yeah.
In the worst case scenario, I would have kept it and rented it out. I mean, how bad can it be for $2,000? I mean, it would rent for like $800 a month, $750. So, you know, a lot of people are buying in Detroit. I'm hesitant to go there. We buy in a lot of good areas outside that area. And so the double close went fine. So you will have your closing costs in any deal. So make sure if you're doing a double closing, you will have the fee, most likely of title insurance, transfer tax, because you are actually purchasing the property on a double close. as opposed to the assignment when you're just selling your contract, selling the rights to your contract. When you do a double close, you actually purchase the house. So it is different. And so when you purchase it, there will be fees involved. And when you sell it, you're going to pay your transfer tax. If you're going to be paying your buyer's title insurance, a lot of times when we buy a property, a bank-owned property, especially if we choose our own title company, they're going to make you pay for your own title insurance. So I add that to my fee to my investor buyer that they're going to pay for my title insurance now because I just paid for it. Usually not a problem as long as the numbers still work for the end buyer. They see what the numbers are, what the rehab is going to cost, and what their cash on cash return is going to be, or their cap rate on investment. So.
And I think our fees on that were about 600-ish.
Okay, yeah, and Julie said our fees on that were about 600-ish. So, and sometimes we will pass those fees along, dependent, on the situation or how much money we're making on that particular deal. So again, if it's a bank-owned property, most likely you're doing a double close, not an assignment. It's not going to usually happen. Okay, yeah, here's point two. When you buy a bank-owned property, most banks will have a clause where you cannot resell that property for 90 days for a percentage over what you purchased it for. I think it's like 20%. Don't get me on that particular number, but I just had this happen to me, and we're actually closing a deal tomorrow. I'm doing a deal, and I could only increase my sales price a certain percentage over what I bought it from the bank for, okay? And so in that case, where I already had it sold for more than that, it wasn't a lot more. But when this happens, it most likely can happen, because this happened to me a couple times. So we're selling the property for above 20% more than what we paid for it. The bank will only allow you, because there's a clause in your contract when you buy it, you can only sell it for, I believe, 20% above what you paid for it, okay? So in that case, if you still want to make more money, what I do, you can check with your attorney or your title company, but I just add a consulting fee, not in the sale price. So that would be separate of your sale price. We just call it a consulting fee and charge whatever you want. In this case, I think it only ended up being like $600. No, I'm sorry. It was $1,500. And he already agreed to the price, but we had to reduce the price that I was selling to the end buyer and then add my consulting fee to equal what the price was that we agreed upon. So that's kind of important to know too when you're getting into the bank-owned properties, okay? Any other questions right now?
Nope.
Nope, no questions? All right, cool. One of the things we do too, when we're getting ready, when we have a property that you want to wholesale, things are changing recently. It's really, usually we'll put an ad. I hope everybody uses Postlets, postlets.com. It's free, so everybody should be using it for one thing. It's awesome. Postlets.com. You create real estate ads on there, okay? And then you can copy all your information directly into a Craigslist ad. So those work hand in hand together. Postlets and Postlets ad will go into a whole bunch of different other websites out there. And then, of course, your Craigslist ad, because that's a popular site too. And a lot of times when we create ads for our investors, we'll put what the sale price is, what the taxes are, what the insurance cost is, if there's going to be property management in place, what that cost is, and then what the rehab cost, excuse me, what the rehab cost is going to be, okay? And you add all that up, then you figure out what your total cost is, and you can create your cap rate or cash on cash return based on those numbers. Now, when we do that, we always like to present a deal at 13, 14, 15% cap rate. And there's a lot of guys that'll buy way under that percentage. In fact, I've had investors buy properties from me that I actually had advertised as retail deals. They were not advertised as a wholesale deal. So there's wholesale or investors out there that I guess are just willing to
Speculative or,
be speculative and, count on the property values going up, which of course we all know that in our area, prices are going up quite a bit here. So sometimes when I create an ad, if I'm sending it directly to my cash buyers, I'm going to include all that information. Okay, I'm going to let them know what the cap rate is, the cash on cash return, including the property taxes, insurance, maintenance, or whatever else needs to be done, rehab on a house, and then of course the price of the house, total all in, what's their return going to be? Okay,
rent, how much rent.
and then based on how much rent it's going to bring. So we do all that for our investors. But a lot of times what I'm doing now, as I see it all the time, is I'm putting ads out on Craigslist for the same property. I'll send all the good information to my buyers that buy from me now, but on Craigslist, I may just put the property out there. Hey, this is a great deal, a great investment property. It'll rent for this much. If it needs a little bit of work, I'm not going to give them all those numbers because there's so many guys out there buying. They don't look at those numbers, I guess. I don't know what it is, but this is very important because there's people buying these properties. They'll buy them from me. They'll buy them from you. They're not looking at the numbers. So, and I know it's different in other parts of the country because, I think I had somebody give me a wholesale deal today. I think it was like $100,000 property that'll rent for $950. Well, if you do the cap rate, that's not a good cash on cash return based on if you want positive cash flow on your monthly income from that property, where we're getting properties maybe $50,000 all in that are renting for $950, $1,000 a month. So that's a big difference. So again, that's why we get a lot of people from other parts of the country that are buying in Michigan and buy from us or whoever, because and they're buying all over in Michigan. It's a great market for cash flow properties here. So it's a great thing. So again, if no one's used Postlots or Craigslist, I'm sure you guys try to pound that in. It's two sites that are totally free. So I mean, how can you go wrong? And the thing is, and I use it for my wholesale properties. I use it for my retail properties. And just think of the money you can save on one of your retail if you're doing a fix and flip, or even if it's a wholesale deal without a realtor involved. You're talking 6%. I just had a house, $139,000. I think we put it on Craigslist. Now you will get calls from realtors sometimes on those, and we just did, and we sold one of our properties through our Craigslist ad. And so in that case, I do offer the buyer's agent 3%, which is still a lot better than 6%, right? Especially if the margins are getting a little tighter here, where the property values are going up, it's harder to buy. Where we used to lower the values up here, the bottoms here, so your margin is not as great as it used to be, but we're still getting some really good deals here. Still doing fix and flips. The turnkey properties, rental properties, wholesale properties here in Michigan. So it's not been a problem for us. We've been crazy busy over here. This month might be one of our best months to date. It's just been slammed here, trying to keep up with everything, keep everything going here. And that's a good thing, right? So. Any other questions right now?
There's no question.
No? Wow,
What
okay.
about the for sale by owner site? I don't know that we've ever used that, but would that make sense?
The for sale by owner site for?
Like if just someone's selling a retail house for sale by owner and we are doing a flip, I don't think we've ever utilized that site unless.
Yeah, no, Julia's talking about using the for sale by owner site to sell your property. I mean, you can
sell
look
your
for
retail.
properties too, but
Sell your retail
I
property.
think, yeah, they have a fee too, to get on that site. And from all I'm hearing lately, I don't know that would be your best route, because Postlets and Craigslist is free, and I think that is actually more people looking on there.
Plus where they put it.
You know what I mean? Because once you hit that Postlets ad, man, it goes to a bunch of different sites all over the internet. It's crazy. So definitely utilize Postlets and Craigslist, but Postlets first, then Craigslist for all your ads. Even if you're doing a ghost ad where you're trying to get buyers to add buyers to your buyers list, same thing. You can put a 3-1, you know, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, whatever property on Postlets. And when someone calls, you can say, well, that one's no longer available, but you know, I think I have another one coming up. What are you looking for? If you're doing the ghost ads like that, we haven't had to do a ghost ad in a while because we've had quite a few properties lately. So definitely utilize those 2 sites. It's free and they work awesome. Okay.
Or you just, oh, hi, you just got a couple congratulations. Well, good.
So we just recap then real quick if there's other questions. I mean, the assignment of contracts, that's most likely going to be used when you purchase a private owned property. Bank owned properties, you're going to have to do a double close. And if you're going that route and buying those kind of properties, you don't have the cash on hand, make sure you have a title company that will do a dry double close, or that you have transitional funding lined up, you know, in advance. You don't want to lose the deal. So that's important. Of course, you always need to sign purchase agreement, get that locked in. I always have that before I even advertise a property. There's been there's been several times where I've got a bank-owned property. They said you're under contract, but until you get those signed documents back, it's really not. And I've had them where they said you're almost under contract. They do it electronically, and then something falls through, and if you don't get the signed contract, you're not under contract. Okay, so until you get that, I don't start advertising a property for sale until I have the contract signed by the seller, actual contract signed.
Make sure you sign and/or signs if it's going to be a assignment. Make sure you sign.
Oh, right. Well, you should be on every contract that you sign, no matter what, even if you plan on keeping it, just make it part of your daily routine or whenever you sign the contract. When you sign your name, followed by and or assigns. That's just simply allowing you to assign your contract. Now, of course, you could do that, but if it's a bank-owned property, there's still going to have addendums where it does not allow you to do that. So, so on a bank-owned property, again, it's going to have to most likely be a double close.
Someone just asked, are we using bandit signs?
Do we use bandit signs?
And actually, that's how we closed that big deal we just did.
Actually, yes. Weren't you at the edge? Just kidding. Yeah, we did a thing on bandit signs. Of course, we use bandit signs. We just did this deal. This $2,000 house I just picked up was from a bandit sign. So yeah, I just made $8,500 from a bandit sign. Okay, so yeah, we use them. They work. They're awesome. If you're not using bandit signs, get your butt out there and get some, because that's crazy. They work awesome. I've heard some people in different parts of the country say they don't work in my area.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, they're worth a shot.
It's worth trying. They're very inexpensive. If you're on a tight budget, you put them up on Friday night, pick them up on Sunday evening. We leave ours out, and for the price, they're not that expensive, and they pay for themselves for us. Like I said, I just made $8,500 on one deal.
Another question.
Okay, another question.
Have you ever had the buyer or the buyer investor question or have an issue with your fee? Have we?
Have we ever had the buyer question our fee on an assignment?
Have a problem with it?
Problem? No. Basically, when you give them the end buyer the sale price of that property and they're happy with the numbers that they're getting, they should not really care what you make. I mean, if they know, if they deal with wholesalers, they know you're going to make a profit. So I've never had a problem with that. If you think it's gonna be a problem, then you can go to a double close, and then they don't know how much you make because you're gonna buy the property. And from one person, like I said, I just did this last week. I've got my seller coming in, I'm buying the property for $2,000. He's in one room. My buyer investor is in another room. So I'm closing with him first. I'm walking 20 feet over here, and I'm closing with my buyer. So he doesn't know what I paid for the house, okay?
Another question is,
Okay.
do your investors understand that you're wholesaling the property? Do they ever ask you if you're making a profit, or do they just understand that already?
Okay, the question is, do my investors understand that I'm
Making a profit.
making a profit or
Do they understand
wholesaling
that
the
you're
property?
wholesaling the property?
Yes, in fact, they all know that. I would be upfront with them as to what you're doing. Maybe you may be working with some investors that are newer or have never bought a property from a wholesaler. Some people just use realtors and they don't know about wholesalers to buy a property from another person like what we do. And what was the other part of that? I'm sorry.
Just, do they understand that you're wholesaling? So
Okay.
you basically tell them I'm wholesaling.
Yeah, in fact, on our document that we use for a double close, if we're wholesaling it, we have a purchase agreement that actually states in the contract. You want to be upfront with everybody on what you're doing, okay? So when we do a double close on a bank-owned property, our purchase agreement will actually state in there what we're doing. It'll state that this is going to be a double close, and we are currently not the owner of the property, and that we're purchasing the property, and then we'll immediately resell it to you. We guarantee that they're going to get a warranty deed. So whenever we get a deposit, it's non-refundable on our contract unless we cannot convey, complete the sale or convey a marketable title at closing, and they would get the deposit back. Because normally when I wholesale a property, I'm getting my fee in their deposit. My whole fee I'm getting upfront. If I'm making $5,000 off that property, that's their down payment. I'm getting that upfront. I want that right now. And what you want to at least get the minimum of above what you paid, because if they back out of the deal for any reason, you don't want to be left hanging. If you had $1,000 EMD on that property, and then they don't show up at closing, then you're going to lose $1,000.
So make sure they at least.
Okay, so I would make sure you get at least double what your EMD is. So at least you've made that much money up front, because if somebody backs out of the deal the last minute and you're trying to do a double close, and they don't show up at closing, then you're going to lose. Okay, so that's actually a good point. But always be upfront with what you're doing. If you're not comfortable with letting them know how much you're making, do the double close. In my mind, like I said, it normally shouldn't matter as long as the numbers work for them. If you show them how it's going to work as an investment and then they're happy with that number, then it's a deal. I've done some before where I've got a more expensive property. We're only talking like this last deal we did where I bought a $2,000 property. Right? That's the first property I ever bought for $2,000, really. So we did one a while back. It was a killer deal. What did we pay for that one?
Warren,
Yeah.
we paid, I'm gonna say 16,000.
Okay, well, we paid lower, like 15, 16, 17,000. We sold it for like 60. So, I mean, and it was worth it. We just happened to get a killer deal on this particular property.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, that was also from a bandit sign. That was probably one of our
I'm sure.
coolest, funnest deals to date on a bandit side. Okay, but so yeah, definitely do a double close if you got a killer deal lined up. No one needs to know you're making that much money profit. Even if it's a good deal for them, it's got to be at some point where they might look and say, "Wow, you're making a lot of money off me." But so if you're not comfortable, double close.
We double closed that one.
So we double close that one for sure. So, I mean, it's a fun business. You guys can make a ton of money with no money out of pocket. I mean, we started off doing the sandwich lease options back in the years back. I had no idea what the heck we were doing, and I was that can be another thing we can talk about is sandwich lease option. And I haven't done one in a while. I sell them that way, but I haven't purchased one that way. I mean, I purchase on land contract and sell it on lease option. So but similar situation, but, we
Thank you.
we just did so many different kinds of deals throughout the years here. It's just, some of this stuff becomes second nature to us, but we're always willing to learn what's new, what's happening, what's going on, because there's always new strategies that come out and
Things you forget about.
or things that you may forget about, but definitely, wholesaling should be, part of what you're doing, because it's easy, no money out of pocket deals that you can do.
I have another question.
Okay, hang on, I got another question.
Oh, what are all the states double closes are legal that you are familiar with? Can I private message you to pick your brains a little bit? Okay, we don't know what other states.
You know what? You can talk to an attorney, a real estate attorney, as far as
Company,
finding out what is legal in your state for double closes.
title companies.
Title company for sure, but and a title company should be part of someone that's on your team, but so should a real estate attorney. Okay, we're here in Michigan, so I know it works here. I guess I couldn't say for other states, but talk to it. Your title company would know that, and or a real estate attorney, which you should definitely have on your team. If you don't get that on your team, you're going to need an attorney at some point, just to even if it's just to look at some of your contracts or what have you.
So we might just remind everybody that there is Ask the Experts on the IE site, and whenever they are in a pinch or they have a question about anything we
Right.
talked about, they can always ask the experts too.
Oh, okay. And Julie just reminded me that on the IE site, you have the Ask the Experts where you can ask questions. So you can always do it there too. But as far as the states, I would check with your local title company and or attorney for legal stuff like that.
But just in terms of wholesaling, double closing.
But yeah, I mean, wholesaling, double closing, assignments, I mean, they've been used for years. I know people use them. I personally know people in many different states that are members of the IE site that do the same thing we do, and they're doing assignments and double closes all the time. So I don't know what state you're referring to, but just check with your title company and or attorney. It's probably allowed. Anything else?
Maybe, I don't know if.
Excuse me?
There's another one coming in right now. Someone said that they were illegal in New Jersey, and I said I didn't think so, but then they should check with Carol, yeah, because Carol does it, she'd be a great person to
Yeah,
ask.
you're in New Jersey, yeah.
Ask
Well, that's
Carol.
Carol's in New Jersey, right? I'm sure she's doing them, so unless she's doing something illegal, which I highly doubt. Yeah. Again, the best way is title company, attorney, real estate attorney. A lot of attorneys that are not real estate attorneys probably don't know a lot of these things that we do. We do them every day here, so it's simple. Assignment contracts are easy. We have just a one-page contract when you want to assign it. Make it simple. It just basically states that you're assigning the rights in your purchase agreement to your end buyer. It's really easy to do. So don't get geeked up or held up because, oh my God, contracts or whatever. It's a very easy thing to do. Simple. So
I don't have any more questions.
no more questions?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, all right, just recap then too. I just want to tell everybody that when you're getting the property under contract, you want to use your Postlets and Craigslist. I can't push that enough. It's just free stuff that works like a charm, okay? We use it every day. Get calls, phone rings off the hook from our Craigslist, whether it's a rental property, a lease option property, a retail flip, wholesale deal. It works for all those. So everybody go out and get some deals and make some money. All right?
We done?
Well, I guess that's a quick one tonight. If there's no other
Well, it's
questions.
just about how many assignments and double closes a month do you do? I would say more, probably how many do we do a year?
How many assignments? We don't, we wholesale is not all of our business. So if somebody asks how many assignments or double
I
closes
don't
do we do?
know. I don't
It
know.
varies.
Yeah,
This month we did like 3. So,
that's not typical.
we
'Cause
we do a lot of different things, and we're not just wholesaling, so we don't do just wholesaling. So like I said, we buy, fix, and flip, we hold for rentals, we do lease options, we sell to other investors. So, yeah, but, I mean, over the last few years, we've done quite a few,
Another question.
Okay, one more question.
How long did it take you to find and create your team when you first started? Well, that's trial and error.
Yeah, well, that's, Julie said it's trial and error on the question that is, how long did it take us to build our team? And we're always looking for new members of the team. I've been with the first time. Okay, here's a story. When I went to evict somebody, which is not fun, but I met an attorney in the courtroom, and I saw him in action, and he was working like doing evictions for like
Somebody else.
condos and apartment complexes and stuff. And so I went and talked with him. This was what, how many years? 5 years ago. So anyway, he's been my attorney. I met him at the courthouse. He does real good for what we want to do. It's helped us out a lot, especially in our lease option contracts. People, I don't think we've ever lost in court over a lease option contract.
But our realtor took, it's not the first realtor we started with.
Right. No, we've been through many realtors, team
but
contractors.
We've had him for a while, yeah.
Well, we've been with the title company and our attorney for quite some time. We're really happy with both of them. Realtors, you got to have more than one. I'd say minimum of 3 different realtors, different areas. You want those deals coming in. If you're going out looking for property, you want realtors. Bandit signs are huge, huge. We get a lot of deals from our bandit signs. So, I mean, definitely do those also.
So I guess that's probably it.
Okay, unless there's any other questions, I'll hang out here for a minute in case any other questions come up. Hope everybody's getting all their summer plans together here. It's going to be that time of year here in Michigan where the weather's finally getting nice. We just bought a nice little lakefront property. We're going to spend a lot of time at this summer. Got a really good deal on it.
And we can still work there.
And we can still work there, Julie says. Let's try, if we go up for a week at a time, then I'll probably work there a little bit. So.
I think that's it.
Okay, well, if that's it. Thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate you being here. Hope you learned a little bit or gave you some good ideas here what to do for assignments and double closes. And Craigslist postlets, bandit signs. Do it.
Bye.
See you guys. Thank you. Have a good evening.